Booktube, it's Louise, the big head bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day, wherever it is you are and whatever it is you're doing. Hello, hello. Lovely to see you. Hello, if this is your first video that you are stumbling across, welcome. Welcome to this part of the internet in the east of England. Hello, lovely to see you. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. You crazy fool. How lovely to see you. Welcome back to Friday Reads. It's Friday Reads, it's Friday Reads. I'm here on a Friday, it's Friday Reads. And the first thing I would like to notice, it's important I don't script. It's important you know I don't script these, as I've just proved. So if it is a bit rambling and a bit incoherent, that's just the way we roll in this area. You know, other videos that people put out are well scripted, well lit, well recorded, whereas here, me and Gary pride ourselves on just turning up and being our authentic selves. Gary's had a week of it, so he has taken time out during the week just to dive into a good book and enjoy himself. But he's back at it now. My companion in crime, aren't you, Gary? So I didn't record last week because I had recorded several other videos, which were Agatha Christie related videos, which I hope you enjoyed if you've seen them. If not, they're there on my channel. One of the things I talked about was book adjacent items I have bought over the years that are adjacent to Agatha Christie, because I'm just such a huge fan of hers. And one of them was a jigsaw that I had bought twice. So I said in that video I would do it, and I did. I started that day. I couldn't resist. I did it. This is the one that I got from Vinted. Had all 1,000 pieces. Woohoo! Yay up, that seller. Not that I've ever bought a jigsaw on Vinted before, but you know, you do kind of wonder, don't you, with a jigsaw. It's very easy to lose a piece. For example, I have got a piece in my desk drawer that I don't know what jigsaw it relates to, so I'll just kind of keep it there so that if I should do a jigsaw again, I will be able to put it. But anyway, I contacted my friend and said, I've got 2 of these, do you want the other one? And she said, yes please, thank you very much. So she'll be getting that next week. In that video, somebody had left a fabulous comment. Thank you very much to everybody that leaves comments. I do read all of them and I try to answer. And she said, did you know there is one that relates to And Then There Were None, which first came out with a different title and then got known as 10 Little Indians, and then is now And Then There Were None. It's one of her very famous novels. And did I go straight to the internet and look to see what it looked like? And it's just... I mean, let me show you the back. Look at that gloriousness. So I haven't done it. I haven't opened it yet. This is what I think. You know, is there a chance that this is going to be open this weekend? Yes. But it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. So it's 1,000 piece. It's not the same artist that has done the other ones. The Poirot, the Agatha, and the Marple. I haven't got the Marple one yet, but I have got this one. It was the colours. The colours, I just thought that is going to be a treat to my eyes to do. And I thought I could get lost in this one. Hello. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So that's my latest jigsaw. I thought you might like to see that. Thought you might like to see that. Let's carry on. Let's carry on with the books. No parish notices or laundry chat today because we've got a lot to talk about. And Gary, in this... It's not as hot. Today isn't as hot, let's be honest. We have had a bit of sun this morning, but it's not as hot. But Gary could still get overheated. I did say to him, why don't you not wear your hat? But he was like, no, got to wear my hat. Audiobooks, I have been listening to Agatha. I've been listening to Agatha Christie's as kind of comfort listens. Still been listening to my podcast, but I have been listening to the audio edition. So I listened to this Marple, which is The Moving Finger. I always forget with this one that there isn't enough Marple. That Marple comes very late in on the story, and there isn't enough Marple. I enjoy it. It's a very good cozy mystery set in a village to do with poison pen letters. Jerry Burton chose the peaceful village of Limstock to take a house for him and his sister Joanna. He needed peace and quiet to convalesce after being injured in an air crash. But Limstock had sinister currents running beneath its placid backwater. A poison pen letter writer was at work spreading allegations as ridiculous as they were unpleasant. Ridiculous, at least, until the shaft strikes home and death results. So, it is lovely. I enjoyed it. I listened to the Audible edition that had Joan Hickson narrate it, who is my favourite Marple narrator because she is my favourite Marple actress, and her voice, it just glorious. This beautiful Pan edition is from 1985, I think. So it is an 80s edition, but it's not a Fontana Foxtail edition. I think this is our original one that we had from when I was a teenager, 1985. So yeah, so I listened to that. That was glorious. And then I thought I'm going to listen to another one, but this time it was a Poirot. Here's a Foxtail edition for you. And this is Death in the Clouds. It's a great one. At first, I would say fifth. I think it takes a little time to get into this one. Maybe it's because I have listened to it and read it so many times. It kind of washed over, and then I got back into it about a third of the way through. And that isn't a criticism of the book. I think it's just I need a break from it. I perhaps have read it or listened to it or seen it too recently. This is for the passengers of the noon flight from Paris to Croydon. A routine journey becomes a nightmare. In midair, a brutal and ingenious murder is committed, but one of them must be guilty of it. But who? And this is an Hercule Poirot mystery. It's a great one, as is this cover. Glorious. Glorious. So I'm now listening to another Miss Marple narrated by Joan Hickson, and that is The Murder at the Vicarage. And this beautiful edition that I just thought I'd show you is a facsimile edition. I think it's a facsimile edition of the first time it was published, and it was published in 1930 by the Crime Club. And the lovely jacket it's just such a beautiful reproduction, down to the typesetting and everything. And I would read this. This would be one that I would actually want to read from. It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. My 1980s Fontanas and Pans, I don't like to actually read from them anymore because they are getting a bit more fragile and the glue on the spine is being affected, and pages can come out really easily. So the majority of the Fontanas and Pan from the 80s, as I say, 70s and 80s, I wouldn't actually read from anymore, just because I want to keep them, and I want to keep them in as best condition as possible. However, this is a facsimile edition. I've only got a couple of these facsimile editions, but they are glorious and they're really enjoyable to read from. But I'm actually listening to the audiobook. I'm about a third way in, and it is pure nostalgic comfort listen, which is what I'm enjoying at the moment. So yeah, that's what I'm listening to at the moment. So I just thought I'd show you that. I did go on Vinted. I have got more Vinted purchases to show you. That will be another video, you lucky things. But I just thought I'd show you this one because it is glorious. It is glorious. It came the other day and I cannot with it. I cannot with it. It's in such good condition as well. This is called Recipes for Murder by Karen Pierce. So this is an American book, I believe, American published book. It is not Vinted in any way. It's not vintage, but I did get it from Vinted. It isn't affiliated to the Agatha Christie family. So this is kind of a lot of the stuff that I get is affiliated and comes from the kind of Agatha Christie family estate stock. But this isn't. This is somebody inspired by. It's so well done, actually. It's drink and dine with recipes inspired by the best-selling novelist of all time. Dame Agatha. Poison, knives and bullets riddle the stories of Agatha Christie, but so does food, which she uses to evoke settings, to develop characters, and of course to commit murder. So when I said to the family that I was buying this book, they were like, well, we're not going to trust anything that you cook from it because we don't know whether it's going to be poisonous. And the ones that I have read so far are recipes from something is mentioned in a book, and she has tried to create from as close as possible the correct recipe from that time. And it's split up in decades, which I don't know whether you can see there. How brilliant is that? Just hoping that you can get to see the ones. So the murder at the Vicarage is 1930, and it's the first recipe in the 1930s, and it's old-fashioned rice pudding. And I read the recipe and I thought, do you know, that is the recipe my mum used to use. So that has definitely come down through the family, because that is, I actually recognise the recipe. That to me is, that I do actually recognise that as a recipe that my mum would have used. It's so familiar. So, yeah, I'm very tempted to give it a go, actually. I love rice pudding, and you can do it hot or cold. Yeah, very tempted. So, yeah, and it's really good. So it gives you the quote from where it is featured in the book. So Mary entered at that moment with a partially cooked rice pudding. I made a mild protest, but Griselda said the Japanese always ate half-cooked rice and had marvellous brains in consequence. Leonard Clement, The Murder in the Vicarage, 1930. And it kind of, then the first paragraph puts it in context. And then you have the recipe. How brilliant is that? It's so well done. And the next one is British coffee cake. But they have some very, obviously, of the time recipes that I am not going to be doing, which is deviled lamb kidneys. Yeah, won't be doing that. Won't be doing that. That is not me. Champagne oysters at Hotel Luxembourg, 1940s. Oh, fabulous. Yeah. So how good is that? It's in such good condition. I think whoever had it found it and thought, oh, I'm getting rid of that. That is not something I want. It's something I want. That is something I want. How jealous are you? How jealous are you? I bet you were right jealous. Anyway, those are the books that I listened to, and that was the book I got. There's another book I actually got. I know. So I finished the book I was reading, which I couldn't remember the name of last time, but here it is. It is A Case of Life and Limb by Sally Smith. This is the second in the Gabriel Ward series by this author. This author was a barrister I think probably in Temple, from how she understands it, the Temple in London, which is an area of London that the Inns of Court are, where the London barristers have their Inns of Court. It's set in 1901. London 1901. Oh, it's very good. It is very good. I enjoyed the first one, which is called, let's see, A Case of Mice and Murder. I had almost exactly the same reaction to this one as I did to the first one, which is, whilst I'm reading it, to begin with, I really enjoy it. I like the characters. I like the setting. I more than like the characters. I'm enjoying the setting. It's very well written. It's well paced. And yet, if I put it down, I'm not desperate to pick it up and read on. until I get to about halfway through and I get hooked, and then I want to know what's occurring, and I just gobble it up and come away from it going, oh, it's such a good book, so well written, well plotted, enjoyable characters, a cozy mystery, I would say, rather than hard-hitting, hard-boiled. Totally enjoyable, 100% recommend. And I find it really odd that the first half, I don't get drawn in as much. I don't know whether it's the pacing. I don't know whether it's the mystery itself. I don't know whether it's the mystery is not... the mystery itself doesn't immediately grab me, and I don't understand why. And it's funny that it's happened in both books. So it's not just the first one. It's something to do with the setup, I think. I really can't put my finger on it, but I find it quite baffling. However, incredibly enjoyable books. So glad I found them. I did think, right, I've read two of them, like in quick succession. I'm going to give it the next one when I'm not going to read the next one for quite some time. I'm going to have a break, and then looking up, the next one isn't published yet. So hark at me saying, well, I'm going to give it a break. Well, you will be giving it a break because there isn't a third one available. It's coming out next year in hardback. And as I've got the paperbacks, I will wait until it comes out in paperback. So that's going to be well over a year. So by that point, I'll be ready to dive back in and make Gabriel Ward QC's acquaintance again. Really great character. I cannot put my finger on what it is that I'm not diving into. I don't want to dive into it. Anyway, yeah, interesting, but very good. Heartily recommend, though. Heartily recommend. 100% recommend. Don't understand why it doesn't grab me. Right, so then I thought I set this little challenge to myself that I would only read the HarperCollins books that I'd ordered. I ordered 6 of them. I'd only read those for August, and we'll see how many I can read. So I was all like, right, okay. So I picked up the first one. All knew this was going to be my first one. This is The Order by Daniel Silva. It's a spy thriller set at a time where the current Pope dies. It's a fictional Pope series. Pope Paul the 12th has died, so it is in that interregnum between, and it's before the conclave starts. So it's in that little bit between the Pope dying and being found dead and the conclave start. There is a secret society, and that's all I'm going to say. And this is the legendary spy and art restorer, Gabriel Allon. Now, I didn't realise when I bought this book, well, I did kind of realise. I realised this was in a series. I didn't realise this was like something like 17th in the series. So the characters are very well established by this point. So I don't think Daniel, quite rightly, feels that he has to kind of fully flesh them out, because everybody will know, everybody's going to read it will know it, apart from me, who starts in the middle of the series. So the things that I learned from reading this book: 1, I love a spy thriller. Gosh, I don't read enough spy thrillers. What can I say? I was brought up on James Bond. I like a ruthless spy thriller as well. None of your fluffy nonsense. I want kind of proper spy thrilling stuff. I like Mission Impossible. Love the films. Mission Impossible, I was brought up in the 70s, on the 70s TV series. So I like proper Mission Impossible. I like James Bond. I like James Bond to be kind of a bit mean. If you read the books by Ian Fleming, oh, they're so good. The first ones, I think by the time it gets to 12 and 13, it's a bit ropey. And of course, there are dodgy sexual politics and it is very much of its time. So you have to go in with the understanding it is of its time. But the character of James Bond, this ruthless, cold kind of spy, just gets me going each time. This book had that. It had that ruthlessness, that well executed plans. It had that kind of, how are they going to do this? How are they going to pull this off? Which I absolutely love. Next thing that I learned, I don't think I need to read another book about the time that a pope is discovered dead to the conclave. I just think I've done. To the point that when I first started reading it, I had to put the book down and go, have I read this before? This is so familiar. And I think it is because of the conclave. It's just gone straight out of my head. Whoever it was, I'll put a picture of it. It's a really good book. Film, I don't think we watched all of it, actually. Maybe we did, I can't remember. But the film was very good as well. But, the book was very good. I think it was I was like, have I read this before? I don't feel I need to read that. Nor it went very much into the religious tensions around changing the shape of Christianity and Catholicism, and the past, how the tensions between Judaism and Catholicism, and how people of faith are treated. And to me, I wasn't wanting that. That's not to say it wasn't well written or well done. I wasn't wanting it. I just wanted a spy thriller. And at times I felt personally it got a little heavy. And I wonder whether that's partly because I've come in the middle of the series. And so where that might be character development in earlier books, more now the author is exploring topics, and so the characters, the setup is well understood by the readers, and so he's exploring the topics, and I would understand that. This particular topic I wasn't at this time wanting to read about it. I just wanted a spy thriller, and I think that was the kind of difference. The spy thrilling bit, I thought it was well written. I thought everything was well written. The spy thriller bit, top notch, and I flew through it because of that. Excuse me. And it says here, Alon is the 21st century Bond, and I would say yes. There's a really good kind of that. Yeah, if you enjoyed Bond, I think you would enjoy it. I have no urge to go back to read the beginning books, and I'm quite happy about the fact I've come in the middle. I don't feel like I want to go through the setup of the characters. And do all the kind of personal life, because he's married in this one and has children, and I don't really feel like I needed to go and do all of the setup of that. So it was a really good book, really enjoyed it. I've got the next one in the series called The Cellist, and I shall be reading that this month, and I'll see if it's the same experience, and it'll be interesting to see how I feel about it. But yeah. Is this a tense and thrilling adventure? And I would agree. I did enjoy it. Those two books really enjoyed. So there we go. I was like, what shall I read next? I know, I'll read a romance from my collection of romances that I bought, because I bought kind of spy thrillers and a romance. I did start Magic Lessons. Here we are, which I've got up here. I did start Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman, and I thought, no, I'm not in the mood for more literary. Put that to one side, I did. I am going to read out and out romance, spicy romance. Dante by Kincaid. I don't know how I pronounced it last time, but I was wrong. Sadie Kincaid. and Dante, and this is Chicago Ruthless, book 1. It's a mafia book, and let me tell you, this is the first mafia romance I have read, and it will probably be my last mafia romance that I shall read. Saucy, yes, there was a lot of sauce. They were very, well, there wasn't a lot of preliminaries. It was, you know, it was more main action. What can I say? Yes. You know, he is kind of a mafia boss. I had lots of questions about this book. To begin with, I was like, "Whoa, you know, this is right. We're right there." And then I was like, "Yeah, I've had enough now." By about halfway through the book, I'd kind of had enough of the setup of how bad he is as a mafia boss, and how she's supposed to kind of stand up to him, but she doesn't really. He's like, "I love her feistiness," and then doesn't love her feistiness, and all sorts of then physical shenanigans happens. And yeah, by the end of it, I was like, yeah, right, crack on. There was also this thing, right? So I don't live in Chicago. And maybe in Chicago, everybody knows the names of the mafia bosses, because she was very much like, oh yeah, no, everybody knows, oh my God, he's part of the mafia family. He's the tough, it's like top mafia man, like they're in the papers or something, or the society columns. I found it all most interesting and complexing. And I thought, you know, I don't know the mafia people of this village. Maybe there are mafia people, maybe there aren't. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe that's just my small village girl life. But I was quite baffled by that. There was a lot of also, he's a real baddie, and he is a real baddie, and there's a lot of violence in the book. And there was a kind of like, I'm a ruthless person, but I'm also gonna kill people that, you know, for the badness that they've done, because even though I'm bad, I have my own boundaries and my own sense of good. And it was all a bit, I don't know. Maybe I was thinking too deeply on what it was. Maybe it was just a book. You weren't supposed to think too deeply. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was my problem. I was trying to make the story make sense. I was trying to find a character arc. There is a kind of a character arc, but I found it quite irritating. So anyway, I read it. By the end, I was like this. Yeah. And moved on. Yeah. So this will be a book that will be put and passed on, and somebody else may love it. It just could be my thing. Not hard. It's not really hardcore, I would say. But there's a lot of it. And as I say, there's not a lot of preliminaries. I mean, really. Anyway, yeah, that's that. That's Ruthless. No, it's not. It's Dante by Chicago Ruthless, book 1 by Sadie Kincaid. Pronounce it correctly. Right. So then I went back to magic lessons, because I was like, maybe what I need is a palette cleanser. I read the first, well, I don't know, 30, 40 pages of this. There's 30, 40 pages of this. There's a lot of magic already sprinkled in, and I like that. It just had a kind of a slight reserve and kind of coolness to the writing. That is not what I want at the moment. I want a bit more I want to be pulled into the story. So I put this down again, second time putting it down, and picked up a book that I actually ordered in on the whim of watching somebody do their top 10 mystery thrillers. And their number 1 was And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. And I thought, do you know, well, go on then. They really raved about this author. S.A. Cosby. There we go. And they, in particular, recommended this book, All the Sinners Bleed. And I thought, go on then, that sounds great. First black sheriff, a killer hiding in plain sight, a small town ready to combust. So I was like, yep, that sounds great. It's go, 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 small town, deep south, tensions. It's a school shooting, but not the school shooting, the kind of it's not the kind of normal school shooting. It's a different kind of school shooting, which I just can't get my head around. A school shooting, never mind how that must be. I mean, just, yeah. So I thought, all right, okay, that sounds great. I am 42 pages in, started it the day before yesterday, read those 42 pages. Very, very well written, very tense already, can feel the tension. Last night, went to bed, thought, shall I pick up my book? And thought, do I want to read about that kind of tension just before I go to sleep? And I thought, no, no, I don't. Put my audiobook on. Let's have a bit of Murder at the Vicarage. I was like, so this is my only issue with this book. Really well done, really tense. Is this the kind of book I want to read just before I go to bed? I don't know. I think I need to get further into it. And I normally have a strict 50-page rule that if it's not really caught me by 50 pages, then if I'm not really enjoying it by 50 pages, I normally move on. However, it is very well done. I wonder whether I can kind of already sense what's happening. God, I've got a lot of cat hair on this top. Hopefully you can't notice that. I do wonder whether it's, however, it was in somebody's top 10. Have you read any S.A. Cosby? Have I picked a good one? I don't know. I'll carry on. It's published by Headline, so they're normally pretty reliable. Yeah. Let's carry on. Storytelling at its best, it says. Titus Crown is one of the most compelling characters I've read in a long time, by Steve Kavanagh. There you go. I don't know who Steve Kavanagh is. I think it's an author, isn't he? Yeah. So we'll give it a go. So that's actually what I'm reading at the moment. Let's put magic lessons back, and I will come to that at some point, but we don't know when. And there we go. There we go, Booktube. I'm going to stop now because I'm rattling on. I have rattled on for nearly for over half an hour, you lucky things. Apologies about that, but I had a lot to get through. Let me put them in the stack. And you can then see all that I have talked to you about, you lucky things, on this Friday. They're quite a range, aren't they? Look at that. That is an odd mix of books. There's quite a variety there. Well, that says something about me. But yeah. All right then. Well, Booktube, this has been lovely. And yeah, I'll see you again soon. Hope you have a good week. And as I say, the next video from me might not even be Friday or Easy. It might be one of my other books that other videos that I have planned regarding Agatha. So yeah. Anyway, I've got to go because the teenager is about to leave, drive themselves, pick up a friend and go to the cinema to see the new Spider-Man. So yeah, because now that they've got their license, that's what they do. How cool is that? Yeah. All right then, lovelies. Have a good week. Booktube, this has been lovely. Let's do this again. Bye.